Welcome to Law of Attraction in Action. Thank you so much for joining me on my podcast. My name is Michele Joy, and I am your host. And today I bring two people from all over the world and all walks of life who are here to share their journey with you around the law of attraction. And so today's a very, very dear friend of mine. I've had her on as a guest before, and she's going to teach you something really special today. But what I'll just give you a little bio about her. Her name is Dorice Horenstein, and she is a speaker, coach, and author of the best-selling book, Moments of the Heart, 4 relationships everyone should have to live wholeheartedly. And believe me, guys, she lives wholeheartedly. I love this woman. And as a relationship navigator coach, she uses her personal stories, universal wisdom, gems from the Hebrew language, as well as concepts and mental fitness, which is rooted in positive intelligence, to cultivate healthy relationships and inspire others at work as well as home to live an enjoyable, more grounded and focused life. So Dorice, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. You are a blessing to have as a friend and as a colleague and just a dear human being. So thank you for having me.
Oh, it's no accident that Dorice and I connected with each other. We met each other at what was it? A Toastmasters.
Toastmasters.
My very first and only time I went, and we met in the lobby before we went in, and we have been friends ever since. And we are on the same journey. We both have written books about really connecting with love. And the reason why I wanted you back today, for one, you've got so many great things going on, but it's just your loving energy. I think more people need to enjoy your loving energy because you're just so beautiful inside and out.
Oh my gosh, I love you. Thank you so much. Because you know what? I all my life, I valued relationships and I valued how do you connect with other people. So when God or the universe or the spirit, whatever you want to call it, brought you to me, I felt your beautiful, positive, manifesting love relationship. And I said, I want to be close to that woman.
Right? And like attracts like. I feel the exact same way. I'm like, she is someone I need to connect with.
Yes.
So I'm so glad you're here. But the one thing you're doing right now, you're doing some really cool stuff. And I want to have you share with my people about this this positive intelligence and how it evolves around relationships. And again, the reason for all my listeners why I'm having Dorice share this is because I did a whole segment on soulmates. I have a lot of coaching clients who come to me to find their soulmates, to find relationships, or I know a lot of people who are in relationships and who are struggling. And if you've been listening to my podcast, I did a whole relationship on how to have a healthy or successful relationship, I think is what I called it. So I'm really big into relationships romantically, but also platonically. It's friends and colleagues. And, our whole world revolves around relationships. So can you share with people your words of wisdom and how we can get through this life and have better relationships?
So perfect. First of all, relationship, you're right. It's such a big word, right? It could be relationship with your spouse, with your children, with your parents, and also it can be relationship at work. Like how do you work together as a team with your colleagues? It could also be a relationship to the person who sells you items in the supermarket or the teller in the bank. A relationship is such a vast kind of a word. But before we go into this and how we can come to this amazing relationship, I want you and everybody to take a breath in because, right? Let's take a breath in and realize where you are right now. So the people who are listening to us, they may be on their bike rides, they may be on the way to work, they may be on the way back from work, they may be making dinner, or they may be sitting and just taking that few minutes to appreciate what they're going to be listening to, what they're going to learn, and they're appreciating the present, the moment. And as you said, I use a lot of Hebrew, and the one word that I will use in Hebrew, unless I'm inspired then to use another one, I'll use one word. It's actually 3 words in English. Here I am. The word is hineni. It's one word, hineni.
It's got a nice sound to it. Hineni.
Yes,
I like that.
And it appears in the Bible, but it is used as a conversational word as well. And it's so magnificent word because it doesn't mean I am here, but it means here I am. And there's a difference between I am here, right? I'm here. I'm so happy to be here. To here I am. And I'm putting the emphasis on the here and on the now. Because this moment, whatever it is, wherever you are in your life, this moment does not repeat itself again, right? We always are moving on to the next thing. So appreciate that moment and get connected. Our spirit is connecting us to this moment and right now. And maybe through my talk, you will have this an intention light in your head. It's like, oh, I need to do this. Something will maybe inspire you to think different, act different, behave differently, right? So that's the first step. I always start with that. Hineni, here I am. And so back to the idea of relationship. I do a lot of my talk. As a matter of fact, next week, I'm speaking to a team in Asia and a team in Europe and another team in the United States about team building. And when I think of the word team, I made it an acronym, the TEAM. Together, everyone's attributes are magnified. Think about it. Together, everyone's attributes are magnified. Have you ever been in a meeting? Okay, so you were sitting there and you came and you were totally psyched and feeling good about things, and somebody came and their energy and their attitude was so negative and low that it literally sucked the life out of that meeting. You left that meeting totally not the way you came in. Or maybe play it the other way around. You feel bad, you feel, did not have a good day, you come into a meeting and you kind of bring people down. Could that happen? Could you sometimes be an agent of bringing other people down? Or maybe even looking at one more way. You're sitting there happy as can be in a meeting, somebody comes, negative energy all around them. But after that 1 hour, you help pick them up. You share all of what you have in a sage way with them, and then they leave the meeting happier. Wouldn't that be the end result of what we want?
And it shows you the power of energy.
Completely.
Like the energy, it's said or unsaid, it does not matter. It's the energy you put out, you affect others. Yes.
And you have to do it intentionally, right? You have to understand that sometimes, when you have good, positive energies and somebody comes, you have the choice. 1, you could bring them up. 2, they can take you down, right? And last case is that no one is changing, but you want to be influencing for good in the world. That's actually really honestly why I'm doing everything that I'm doing. I want to be of service to influence people for a positive outcome. Yeah. And that's how I came across the whole study of positive intelligence, which is 4 sciences mixed together. And I want to tell you a little story about the idea of the attributes that we have within us. So we were, my husband and I went on a cruise to Alaska in 2015. And we boarded it from Seattle, Holland, America. And, it's so funny because now when I talk about cruise, people are like, no!
I know. I was supposed to go on a cruise this summer to Alaska. Obviously that did not happen.
But you know what? Reschedule it because cruising will come again. This is going to be ending. The coronavirus that we're in, the pandemic that we're in will end, and life will somewhat resume. So I wish for you to go to Alaska.
Oh, we're going next summer. It's already reserved. So yes, it's happening.
Amazing. And so we board the ship. And then my husband and I said, okay, let's start putting the stuff down in our room, but let's go to the very top floor and let's go to the gym and exercise. That would be kind of fun to start it. And honestly, the reason we did the exercise, because we all know how much food we eat on cruise, right? There's all these buffets 24/7 practically. So we said, okay, we're going to start with some eating. So we go up to the cruise and we, to the top level, and we start exercising, and the ship embarks and we go. And about an hour and a half or so into our cruise, I feel that the boat is turning around. You have that sense when you're on the water that it's turning around. And we were thinking, what is happening? And shortly after, the announcement came from the loudspeaker saying that the belly of the ship was on fire and we had to go back. Yes.
Wow.
We had to go back to dock in Seattle to fix the problem. But so long story short, and usually when I talk, I tell all the details, but the bottom line in the idea of fire in the belly of the ship really resonated with me. because when I talk about relationships, I talk about the 4 relationships. And for this metaphor, we can use the deck, the 4 decks on a ship. And the first deck, the very one in the bottom that doesn't have the windows, it's the relationship we have with ourselves. Nobody sees it. Nobody watches it. It's us with ourselves. So today, just because we don't have as much time, I'm not going to go over all the other decks, but that bottom deck is what the root of positive intelligence is all about. And so what is positive intelligence? It's our capacity to handle life situation with a positive mindset rather than a negative mindset. It's as simple as that, right? And it's even simpler when you realize, when you study this, that there's really a factor analysis, and there are only 3 muscles that one has to worry about. Only 3 muscles.
Okay, what are those?
So I have to tell you, because it's so amazingly cool. So number 1, it's intercepting your saboteur, and I'll explain to you in just a second. Number 2 is increasing your sage. And number 3, the tool that you're using to do that is the self-command muscle. So this study is based on Shirzad Shamin's work, Positive Intelligence. He actually wrote a book. It's a bestseller, New York bestseller. It was translated to 20 languages. It's in 50 countries. And I am being trained with him, with Shirzad himself. And it is absolutely an amazing, amazing experience, because when you think about that, when you think about prime colors, right? And you think there's only 3 root colors, right? Red, green, and blue. When you simplify that and then move it into the positive intelligence, people can actually understand what are the 3 things. So let's go into what are the 3 things. There's the saboteurs. When I was thinking about the ship and being on fire, and I thought, oh my God, fire in the belly of the ship. And I was thinking about positive fire and negative fire within a human being. Right? Like imagine us. So, because I don't know, but do you remember how, I use it all the time. I say, oh my God, she's on fire.
Right.
And that's a good thing, right?
Or I'm on fire is always a good thing. Like I'm just taking off. Right.
Exactly. Right. That's like always a really good thing. I'm on fire. I have a purpose. I have intention. I have direction. I'm going places. Right. But then, and that fire, I call it the good fire. That fire keeps you warm. That fire illuminates your path, whatever is in front of you. But we also have negative fire. And that fire is the fire of control, the fire of operating out of fear, the fire of judging other people, that negative fire that can burn you, right? It's not only warm, but it can actually burn you. And here is the thing, it doesn't only burn you, it can consume people around you, the relationships that you have around you. People may want to stay away from you if there's too many negative fires coming out of you. And here is the truth of the matter. We all have negative fires. No one is completely sage. No one is completely like all the time experiencing that sense of curiosity and happiness and exploration and positivity in general, right? So we have the saboteurs. So the bad fire is the saboteurs, and the positive fire is the sage. And according to Shirzad, there are 10 saboteurs and 5 sage. It actually is connected because he is a PhD in neuroscience. So he connects it to the brain. And the saboteurs are connected to the limbic system, left side of the brain. So if you experience angry, guilt, shame, anxiety, and your head would be connected to electrodes and you will be scanned under, your left side of the brain is going to light up. However, if you are leaning in your behavior, in your mindset, in your emotions to the sage perspective, which are 5, then the neural pathways will be lit up on your right side of your brain. So it's actually, positive intelligence is a science, and it has a backup of over 500 1,000 people's studies, and it shows with this method. So the question is, what are all the saboteurs, right? It's like, how can I get rid of it? One saboteur, and I said that we all have them. Well, one saboteur that is universal. It goes beyond your color, beyond your gender, beyond which culture you come from, and that's the judging. We all judge. I want to ask you, do you find that you sometimes judge yourself? Oh, I didn't do well. Oh, I'm feeling so dumb right now. Why didn't I get that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we all do that.
All do that, right? Do we sometimes judge other people?
Yes.
It wasn't, why did they do that? They are the guilty ones. They are the wrong ones. It's their fault that the situation just happened like this, right? We judge other people. And usually when we judge, we put somebody up and somebody down. That's normally how the judgment happens. But here, there's yet one more level of judgment that I think sometimes we miss, and that's judging the circumstance. We say, if I didn't have this in my life will be so much better. And now, and I think at this point is so important right now as we handle the COVID and the pandemic, right? I think now people are feeling so much more anxious because so many people losing work, there's health crisis, they're not feeling secure.
And being socially isolated, that is really affecting people. I see it in people that I know who are socially isolating, and it's affecting them physically, emotionally. It's really sad. I do see that.
It is very sad. It is very sad. So imagine if we put our attention into those feelings, and we know how to shift from these emotions into a more positive place, into a healing place. How cool is that? Now, we could do yoga and meditation, and they're great. Don't get me wrong, absolutely fabulous. We can try and always be doing that. But what happens when you get, let's say in your work environment, you get these saboteurs of judgment right there and then, or you have your anger right there and at that moment. You can't say to your team, or let's say you're in the middle of a conversation with your spouse or with your children and you get upset, right? You can't say, wait a second, let me go to my yoga mat. I'll get in my Zen and I will come back to you with a new idea, right? You can't do that. You have to be on the spot. And that's where the self-command comes in. So what Shirzad is teaching, and the methods of positive intelligence, the way I coach, is that we have actually an app, and it reminds you, it's an app that you have activities on the app, like up to 15 minutes a day of actually focusing and doing the exercises. And the exercises are really simple, but what they do is they create new neural pathways in the brain. So when you have a situation coming, the more you are trained to do this, the better you will be at the end. It will be like as if you go to the gym and try to lift a 50-pound weight on day one. Can you do that?
No.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, some people. I can't.
But you have to build up the idea. Let's not take 50. Let's take 200. Right? You have to build up to that, right? You have to build up. And Shirzad always talks about, in every person, there is the Jedi, warrior, and then there's the Darth Vader, right? There is always the dichotomy, the two sides of each, all of us. How often do we lean to the Jedi perspective, right? And away from the Darth Vader? And for that to happen, to lean more, it takes practice and it takes intention. And it takes new pathways in our brain. Yeah. Just saying to ourselves, okay, I won't do this again, doesn't last long, because how many times, well, you and me, we've gone to many, many conferences where we were inspired, correct?
Yes.
Like we were like, oh my God, it's such an aha moment, right? Yes. I've said it a million times. And then a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, a month go by, and it fizzles out.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like the incredible wisdom of positive intelligence with this system in the 6 weeks program is that it does not, you have this app and you have to stick with it. If you want to see results, you do that. And the people that have gone through this right now, for myself, I can speak for myself, so much more aware of what is coming out of me in emotions, in thoughts, in feelings, in communication, that I have better measurement. You know, I have a 17-year-old at home. You know, sometimes having a 17-year-old could be testy, right? Everybody, a teenager in the house, especially during COVID time, could be, you know, it's a trying time. So many times I've used that wisdom of positive intelligence to pause, to take my hand off what Shirzad called, take your hands off the hot stove, right? Because sometimes we want to go right into this and we burn ourselves. And he said, you know, feel the negative feeling of this anger, but don't stay there. You know, because how long do you want to put your hand on a hot stove, right? How long do you want to be burning yourself? So this method is absolutely teaching. Now, besides the judge, which is we all have, there's 9 others that can be varied. Some people are more onto 1 or 2 than others. So some of them are controller, as an example. This is something that I am, right? And so it's not, so the way we phrase it also, which is very important, we don't say I am a controller, but I have the controller saboteur. Right? Because what it is,
it takes it away, because if you say I am this, you completely own it, versus you have the behavior of that, you separate, and it's an easier way to disconnect. That completely makes sense.
Exactly. Because all of the saboteurs, what they do is they use and abuse the innate strength of the individual. That's what it does. So for example, there's one saboteur that it's called the pleaser, right? When someone who has the saboteur, the pleaser saboteur, always wants to please other people. But if you look at the root level, that person that is a pleaser has amazing qualities. They seek harmony, they seek peace, they are comfortable, they are not in, but when the saboteur takes over that beautiful essence, that strength that we have, it becomes somebody, then we become somebody that exhibits a behavior that maybe you don't take yourself into consideration, you know, that you put yourself on the back burner. You don't matter because you want to please other people. So where is that fine line, right? And so how to fix it? There's always that stop of the action, pause, always stop, realize that you are in a saboteur state, do the what, now here's the third part, to do the self-command. And the self-command could be 2 minutes. You can do it by yourself without the app, or you can do it with the app. Usually when you're in the middle of a situation, you don't go to the app, but the app there for, you know, it's really crazy, beautiful app. And it does, it has a 2 minute, a 5 minute, a 12 minutes. And then they say, do 15 minutes with the app a day. But, and here's one of the exercises that you do. So I'm going to do it with you. Are you ready? So you take your 2 fingers and you rub them against each other. Exactly. And you rub
and this is so people who are watching the video, this is the thumb and the pointer finger.
Yeah, exactly. You take your 2 fingers, your thumb and fingers, and you rub them against each other. And you pay attention to the actual feeling of your skin. You feel the ridges of both fingers, right? And you can close your eyes, and then you just feel it. And this 10 minutes, it's called PQ. The PQ are the exercises. And you do that without me talking, of course, for 10 seconds. And then you take your hand, another one, put it on your heart, and kind of try to find your heartbeat, kind of literally listen to it and hear it and feel it. And sometimes you may need to move your hand to find it better and just hear it. And then you take your hand and you move it down to your stomach, and you feel the expansion of your stomach as you breathe in and out. And sometimes our mind goes away to think something else. Either we're being judgmental about our stomachs, or we're being judgmental about anything, or we are thinking about something else. So we gently realize that we're thinking about something else and we let it go. And then sometimes you put your whole palm against one another and you rub it all the way up and down, up and down. You feel actually the temperature differences. If you really pay attention and you close your eyes, you can actually feel that some parts of your palm are colder to the touch of the other hand than the other. And that is actually, this exercise creates a new neural pathways in the brain, in the sage perspective, in the sage area, where curiosity lives, where right brain activity, where you lean into your curiosity, to your happiness. And that is, in a very nutshell, what it is. And so the question is, what motivates you to behave in the way that you behave? Or do you want to see a change?
Right.
We should always ask ourselves, do we like the feeling we are experiencing right now? Is it a positive feeling for us? Do you want to stay in that state of that feeling? Now, if somebody tells me, yes, I am angry and I like being angry because that's where I get my work done. Being angry and being in control and being a controlling person in my team, that's when I get the work done. And it takes time. And if this person is willing to listen, they'll know that that saboteur lies to them. As somebody who has the controlling saboteur, I can tell you that so often I used to think, oh, if I don't do this, if I don't arrange this, if I don't get this done, nobody will get it done and it will not be done. It's a lie. It's not true. Because sometimes maybe I didn't ask for it to be done. Maybe I didn't step back to allow somebody else to actually do it.
That's why it's so good to take the pause. The very first step, I love that. I love that you started us all out with the breath, because every time that I pause, I'm like, oh, this brings you into the moment right now. In any situation, any trigger, like to me, something that sabotages me is my triggers that aren't true. And I will say out loud, I will say, you're lying. You're lying.
Very good.
Because I've been practicing through meditation to notice that my thoughts are not who I am. And so when that comes up, I say, you're lying. But I love these exercises, Dorice. I'm definitely going to use them and I've heard that the physical stimulation that we do with our body does affect the neural pathways. So thank you. And if people are only listening, please watch this on YouTube. I'll put the link here. I always put all my podcasts on YouTube, but to see the exercises, they're really fantastic.
It's beautiful. And then ask yourself, how do you really ultimately want to generate your greatest success? How do you want to generate that? Do you want to generate it through being maybe an avoider saboteur, or having a pleaser, or having a hyper-vigilant, or a stickler? As I said, there's 9 of them, right? So we all go in this journey of life together, and we all learn every day, right? In my tradition, we say, if we finish this day, and when we put our head on the pillow and we look back and we reflect on the day we just experienced, and we didn't learn anything new, then the day was wasted.
Yeah.
So I hope that you learned at least something new, one thing new that you can apply in your own life moving forward.
And I also have to say, before we got started recording, Dorice and I were talking a lot about how blessed I am by my life, because I have this beautiful home in Central Oregon, and I'm so grateful for my life. And there's a little part of me that feels guilty, like, oh gosh, I feel bad that some people are suffering and I lived this really blissful life. But what we were talking about is I've been doing this work, this positivity, this focusing on my joy for many years. Like that app, I've reminded myself every day through either teaching my meetup or teaching the podcast or writing my book, I have been in it and it is paying off. So just know, like, again, you go to the gym, those people get really buff. It's because they go all the time. This is the personal trainer of your mind. And this is where life gets amazing. And your journey is the same thing. We haven't always had perfect lives. We've had our struggles. We've lived in negativity, and yet we've made a commitment to stop that. And now I'm seeing the fruits of my labor. Like, I'm seeing how great life is.
And you know what?
Everybody can have that.
I love that you brought up, that when we spoke earlier, that it takes practice, right? We don't expect results for changing a lifelong, sometimes habit within a week or 2 weeks, right?
Right.
Just like you don't go to the gym and after a week of lifting some weight, think that you are just in the perfect shape, with the perfect body, on the perfect scale, everything's good. Right? It takes time. And the other thing I wanted to say, as you talked about that both of us have had, some difficulties in our lives, is that both of us, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but both of us look at life, even with the negative things, and what we learn from that is actually a gift. A gift, because and it's so important, because some people look at it as something that happened, a tragedy, and had zero good. But when you look at it from the perspective of, and that's what positive intelligence does, look at it through either the gifts of inspiration, the gift of knowledge, or the gift of power. What are the gifts that you've gained from your journey, right? And we all have that. So,
and again, this is a practice thing. And so now I can honestly say, I don't see anything as negative. I see every situation as a gift, whether it's something I'm learning, something I'm growing from, some giving me clarity. The point is, I do see it all. And I actually recently had a coaching client where I inspired her, and just for all you listening, you can do this too, along with everything that Dorice is teaching you, but to spend an entire week and look at the silver lining in everything. Just say, okay, this negative situation at work, this is really hard, but I'm going to see the silver lining, or I'm going to see the positivity in this. It starts training your mind, but we need to start somewhere. So this is what I love with my coaching clients. I kind of hold them accountable to this, but this is that.
Can I share a Chinese fable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
So there's a Chinese fable of a village, and there's farmers, and the villagers are there, and one of the farmers has this beautiful stallion, it's a beautiful horse, and he takes this stallion to a competition, and the horse wins, and all the village people come to the farmer, and they say to him, "Congratulations, your stallion has won, how fabulous it is." And the farmer says, "Who knows what's good and what's bad?" And the villagers are like, "What? What is he talking about? His horse just won. This is like amazing." So they kind of go way back to their homes a bit confused. A few days later, thieves come through the town, and they hear that this farmer has a horse, as a stallion, that won a prize. So they come to that farmer and they steal the horse. And all the village people come to the farmer and says, "Oh, we are so sorry. What happened to you? We can't believe you lost your horse." And the farmer says, "Who knows what's good and what's bad?" And then a few days later, the horse, is released, or is running away from these thieves, and he runs through the fields, and he actually gets more horses, more mares to come. And he goes back to the farmer that he knows. So all the village people are saying, "Oh, you got your horse back, and with all the other mares, how fantastic is that?" And the farmer says, "Who knows what is good and what is bad?" And the village people are like, "Oh my God, this farmer is just going crazy. What is this?" A few days later, this army comes through town, and they're asking, I'm just kidding. So a few days later, one of the farmer's children gets on one of the mares to train them, and the mare is like so out of control, and he throws the kid off the horse, and he breaks his leg. And all the villagers come, and they say, what do they say? They say, "Oh, we are so sorry. What are we going to do?" And the farmer says,
"It's either good.
Who knows
Who knows
what is good
and what is bad?"
And a few days later, the army comes and they are asking to get any young person to join the army. And they come to the farmer's house and they see this young boy with a cast on his leg, and he can't go. And they leave him with his family. And now the villagers don't come to the farmer anymore because they know what the farmer will say. Who knows what is good and what is bad? So take that story, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever happens to you in your life, and think about the stallion story, right? Who knows what's good and what's bad? And take that as a hidden gift of whatever it is that you have to handle in your own life.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, Dorice, thank you so much for this. This is amazing. You are also doing some really exciting things, including a webinar where you're going to teach more about this, because I'm already like, tell us the other 9. What are you talking about?
Yes.
For all of them. So how could people reach out to you? How could they get on your list so they know when that webinar is coming about?
Okay.
What's
So
the best way to reach out to you?
yes, the best way is find me, DoriceHorenstein.com. DoriceHorenstein.com, and sign up for my newsletter. You will get notification when is my next webinar. I do those webinars every 6 weeks or so. So I would be, and if you want to be part of the 6 weeks, you can email me. I'll send you all the information. My email is on my website, but you can just go DoriceHorenstein@gmail. You'll get it. You'll get it to me. And I will definitely let you know all the information about positive intelligence, and hope that I can coach you and be there with you along the way for this amazing 6 weeks that can actually be a pivotal moment in your life. And I hope you will do that for your sake, for your sake.
Yes, I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing this so much. Thank you for your love and these were such great exercises that I know I'm going to use. I learned a lot from this, and I know all my listeners have as well. So thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening. Definitely check her out, reach out. I'll put all that information in my show notes. But if you have a story you want to share on my podcast, I would love to hear from you. Please just reach out to me by going to my website at michele-joy.com. That's michele-joy.com. And I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Sending you so much love and happy manifesting.